big man on campus and Donnie video. This is the right side of campus. We're back here on a Monday, September 30th. We're heading right into October, and we thought it'd be important to bring this show back. Donnie, you and I, we've been kicking this idea around for a long time. People love the show. We know it's going to take some time before people realize it's back on, but we had to bring this show back.
No, you're right. I mean, settling on a time, that was half the problems. We had busy schedules. When are we going to fit it in? When are we going to go, with the right connection? Now we have it, 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday. It's going to be your place to be here because it's the same stuff you're going to get. Jeff and I arguing, Jeff and I agreeing, but the content, the breakdown, the fun, the same as it ever was, Jeff. The same as it ever was.
Yeah, the show's going to be really uncensored. We don't set this up beforehand. We really just kind of run at it. We'll break games down. We'll give our opinions, our unfiltered opinions for you every day. This is the place to be at 1 o'clock Eastern. We felt it'd be a great time kind of over lunch period or, so the West Coast can check it out. So everyone can kind of check it out. And you really have the ability to do so before that night in sports. So really excited about it, Donnie. Monday's a great time to do it as we head into the winter season. It doesn't feel like fall or winter, does it, Donnie? I think this is the last week of really warm temperatures around this area, but it seems – but then I saw in like Montana and Wyoming, it's snowing a few feet. So
yeah, no, we're going to go, the way it is anymore, Jeff. You're going to go right from summer, 90 degrees. The next day it'll turn to 55. You never get to enjoy that slow countdown of it goes from 90s to 80s to 70s to 60s and you get to relax. We go either from hot to cold or just some ridiculous. Before you know it, we'll get snow when it was just like 75 degrees 2 days earlier.
Right. Here's what I need all of you to do. Everyone out there watching the show, if you enjoy this show, you enjoy Donnie Rightside and I, we know we have our fans, we have our detractors, whatever. Just do us a favor, retweet the link that went out. You don't understand how helpful that is. Donnie, last night, prime example.
Yep.
I recorded 2 videos during the Saints-Cowboy games of either an egregious penalty or just a great run or something like that. They go viral. These fan bases pick it up. I mean, just a simple retweet, then it just kind of snowballs. Retweet the show. People love this kind of thing. Get it out there. Make sure people understand that it's back on. We're excited about it. But, Donnie, let's get it started here. What do we got?
Yeah, no, we'll get it started on the morning headlines, but I'm sure there's going to be people. They waited 3 weeks till the Cowboys lost before they went live. That's what they did. Right, Jeff?
Yeah. That's exactly what we were waiting for. We just hate the Cowboys that much. We're just ready to go and waiting because again, remember we teased it too. We were going to be on, we didn't go on,
but the Cowboys won. Yep, yeah.
So we just had to keep pushing it back. So here's it to you, all you Cowboy fans. Fuck the Cowboys and fuck that.
No, morning headlines here, Jeff, and I know you're going to get into this because I already see where you're going with this topic, and I'm on the complete opposite end. You have a serial offender out here running around in the NFL. And who is that? Yes, it's Vontaze Burfict. Does anybody get surprised anymore when you see a bone-crushing hit, helmet to helmet, or somebody legitimately trying to hurt another opponent out there? I would give him a lifetime ban. I don't see any purpose what he does for your football team because if you have him, Jeff, on your football team, he hurts your football team with these penalties.
Yeah, listen, I was really interested in talking about this subject because I think there are so many ways to look at it. And look, I want to make this very clear. You're totally right in Vontaze being a repeat offender. Vontaze Burfict has, I think, been suspended like 12 times. I mean, he's missed like 12 to some kind of crazy game in his career. He's missed a ton of games. He's owed a ton of money to the NFL, and he's really – he might be keeping certain departments in the NFL running due to his excessive fine paying. But here's the thing about Vontaze Burfict, Donnie, and this is the state of what this league is right now. He's a repeat offender. Donnie, if this was any other NFL player, would it garner this much? It wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. Nope.
Because, Donnie, here's the thing at the end of the day. We need to remember, okay, we are watching a league where amazing happens. The most amazing things happen. The most amazing athletes in the world play this game. But here's the thing. Jack Doyle was on his knees. This is a repeat offender. And, Donnie, repeat offenders are constantly under the microscope. That's why it's such a big deal here. I think I hate the new NFL. I like it. Yeah, I wish I could have grew up in the 70s and 80s where you could literally slam someone's head into the turf and nothing would happen. But again, it's a new NFL. We have to realize that CTE is a problem. We have to but it's interesting though, Donnie, because CTE didn't seem to be around in the 80s, but now all of a sudden it's around. Either way, Vontaze Burfict had to be punished. He's a scofflaw. It just is what it is. Donnie, if you're a serial, traffic abater, you're probably going to be known to the law enforcement in that town. You're going to be under a little bit more scrutiny. Donnie, let's say you're a guy that fights at bars all the time and you're known to police. You're going to be watched a little bit more than that co-ed coming in from college to go to the bar for a first time. It just is what it is. You're right, though. Vontaze Burfict hurts his team. He hurts this league. But, Donnie, I also want to ask you, when will this stuff get kind of on the level of if one person does it, everyone else is going to do it? Because yesterday in that Bucks-Rams game, Marcus Peters was absolutely leveled in the end zone. That guy should be suspended too, shouldn't he?
Yeah, it's interesting because it gets back to a lot of different things. Because I be playing the football my entire life. There's some things you're supposed to help your brother on the field because they're in the same union as you. You never actually want to hurt somebody, but it seems like Vontaze Burfict takes the shots because the one common denominator is if you run up the middle. Like, again, I'm going to tell you right now, the Josh Allen penalty yesterday where he got crushed. To me, Jeff, that's a football play. You are a runner.
It's got to be uniforms, Donnie. These penalties have to be uniform. If you're going to call it on Burfict, you've got to call it on everybody. At the end of the day, Donnie, Vontaze Burfict, okay, is the reason the NFL is what it is now. In the 70s, Donnie, would this have been a penalty? Would this have been a suspension?
The helmet wasn't any. We used to love these type of hits. Like, oh my God, he knocked his helmet off and he's
we still do.
And you cheer. Yes.
We still do. Donnie, the great Ed Rendell said this years ago, okay? I believe a game was canceled due to snow.
And rightfully so it was.
He called it the wussification of America. We give everybody participation trophies. Listen, at the end of the day, do you think this was like a premeditated decision, Donnie? Or was this just in the heat of the moment? Vontaze Burfict didn't want to
I think it's premeditated at this point because you can have like lapses in judgment. You can go for a kill shot. We all do it. We've all done it in sports. Like, I have a shot to light this guy up. I did it. You know what? I feel remorseful. Like Derek Barnett lights a guy up, puts him out of the game, nearly kills the guy. But I actually think that's like, you know what? I'm probably not going to do it again. But you know what, Jeff? In 3 weeks, if I see Derek Barnett where a guy is held up and he runs full speed and tries to kill the guy, I'm going to say, you know what? That's going to deserve, a 6-game suspension at this point. We're an American society. I love to give the benefit of the doubt. You messed up. Do your time. You messed up. Apologize, and we can move on. But you know what, Jeff? I'm not going to take your apology the 7th time you did the same thing.
Yeah, and this is pretty clear that Vontaze Burfict has no real initiative to change. You saw him running off the field yesterday. He obviously doesn't really take much of this seriously. And look, at the end of the day, Donnie, why should he? I mean, he can pay these fines.
$5 million? Like Donnie, $5 million bucks?
Remember in Sopranos when Tony left the boat out in front of the lawyer's house and his wife said, he could keep paying all these $2,000 fines all day. It's very simple here, Donnie. Vontaze Burfict's a rich man. At the end of the day, though, at some point, I think the NFL has to just say, look, you obviously aren't learning. We can't allow you to keep being out here. It just is what it is. You got to get rid of him at this point.
No, you can't.
Obviously, doesn't want to change.
We can't have these headshots anymore. And it couldn't, like some people, same thing with like Antonio Brown, regardless if you like him as a player, if he's on your team, most of us root against him just because the type of guy he is. It's the same thing with Burfict. Burfict did it for one time. He's like, not that big of a deal, but he's just a serial abuser of the law, Jeff. Now, we're going to keep switching topics here and move on because me and Jeff could talk all day for the next 4 hours, but we do have some show confines that we have to keep to. How about this bill that keeps popping up? And you know what, Jeff? I'm actually surprised you're always on the same side as me, this one, because usually you like to fight for like the little guy when I'm usually on the side of authority, so to speak. The California bill gets introduced. If you guys haven't heard of what's going on, it's the name and likeliness that they want to use if you're a student athlete where you can go out and make money. The state of California, which basically is ready to penalize their entire structure of their college athletics because they think this is going to make a big deal. And the LeBron James of the world, who are completely detached from society whatsoever, think this is going to come in and make college athletes millionaires. Jeff, let's get this topic started. Your initial thoughts here on this California bill.
Look, I've said this too. And again, we want to make this clear. This is not paying athletes to perform.
Correct.
This is allowing them to go out and let's say let's say a player at Stanford decides he wants to help a young kid wants to learn how to play basketball and the parents decide they want to pay him for it, or a golfer wants to give golf lessons or something like that. This is not the NCAA is going to pay them. The NCAA is a staunch defender of the other side. Look, I agree with the NCAA here. I don't agree with them very often, but at the end of the day, Donnie, here's two things you have to remember about this. First of all, they get to go to college for free. Most athletes are on athletic scholarships that allow them to avoid debt, get them a free education, and really any kind of thing that they want at that institution while they're attending it.
And a stipend, and a cash stipend,
correct.
Which comes out to anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 cash a year.
If they want a free education, they can get it. And Donnie, what will also happen is after they graduate with a degree, they will have no debt.
Correct.
I don't know what the statistics are, but most of America is in college debt because of just mounting pricing. I mean, it's crazy how expensive it is to go to college. They avoid that. They get an education. They get some of the best facilities in America to become stronger, healthier, and more physical. Here's another thing, Donnie, that I worry about. So these kids that are at Duke and North Carolina and Texas and all these places, obviously they're going to be in need. People are going to want to pay them for services. But when do the shady characters start getting involved with, hey, well, this is almost legal now, so we can start doing things? When does this start to affect the performance on the field? And what does it say, Donnie, to that kid that goes to Lipscomb or Wofford or UC Davis that is just an athlete that's just trying to enjoy the game and maybe get a good education, whose services might not be as in need? So you're going to basically put Zion Williamson on the same level as a kid that goes to Gardner Webb. It's kind of unfair as well. I don't get it. Keep sports the way it is, particularly college. It's good the way it is. Stop with these unnecessary changes.
Well, I mean, the whole thing it breaks down to is, it's the same thing where we try to change an entire 100 years of work, which benefits 99.9% of these kids, and you're trying to change it for the 0.001%. And I always get back to it when I say, Jeff, LeBron James didn't go to Duke or didn't go to college. Did college go bankrupt? Kobe Bryant didn't go to college. Are we missing out and college isn't going to be there? Because no, we're always going to have that. But here's the premise that comes into it now, because you're right. The underlying underseediness or the seediness of this is going to come in because we're gamblers, right? We watch a lot of TV. Let's just say, if we take it from our own town perspective, Jeff, you live in Lancaster, right? Carson Wentz is 20 miles away. He's going to appear at a dealership to sign autographs for $10. You're probably not going 20 minutes out of your way for Carson Wentz, the prince of the city in Philadelphia, to get his autograph for $10. So now we're led to believe, and again, people still think that, hey, come meet the USC offensive lineman at Jenkins Ford this Saturday. Who's going for that, and what value does that provide to the car dealership? None. For every Zion Williamson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, a megawatt athlete, there are 500,000 college students that nobody even knows who they are. Exactly. Who's paying for what? How much money are they making? Because you know what this turns into? Now, the guy that just passed away, T. Boone Pickens from Oklahoma State, if you guys don't know it, one of the mega boosters of all time, hundreds of millions of dollars he gave to the university, both sporting and also educational. So what happens if a guy like him or Jerry Jones comes out and says, you know what? Arkansas. Jerry Jones, let's just take this one, Jeff. Jerry Jones with Arkansas. He goes, you know what? I'm worth like $5 billion. I just want to have fun. I'm going to pay every player in the country. I'm going to pay the best quarterback $1 million cash to go to Arkansas and say, appear at my oil yard. I'm going to pay the best running back in the country $1 million for my, car exchange over here. I'm going to pay this guy $1 million to come as a wide receiver, and he's going to appear at a local 7-Eleven. That's where to get his $1 million for. People don't understand what they open up. And also, Jeff, the other thing that we're looking at here is Title IX with women. So now it's going to come in. People are getting paid for this. Then the girls are going to say, it's unfair. This guy got paid. We should all split this in the bucket. It makes no sense. And they always go back to, well, Alabama football made $55 million profit. There's like 20 schools in NCAA that actually make a profit in athletics. The rest of the 180 or 200 programs hemorrhage money. And that's where the NCAA comes in and says, we're going to guarantee every scholarship here. People are losing their mind over a nonsensical bill. Go ahead.
Or they scrimp and save his programs to try to just keep the program afloat by pay for play and things like that. Great points by you. It's just going to screw everything up. And you know what, Donnie? There's another little word that's going to dangle out there for these young kids that maybe aren't as in need. Morale. What's the morale going to be like for a guy that's making a few $1 million for advertisements and endorsements, and then playing the kid that,
Yeah, he's out of here in a
Has
year,
no
right?
money.
Yeah, let me just get mine. Let me get paid a little bit and go. And the best part about it is, Jeff, the old adage that always goes in, I use, it's college. If you don't like the rules, don't go. Go play at 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness and craft your basketball skills. And
We
go
talked about this when the kid from UCF had a YouTube channel. He couldn't make money off it because he played in college football. If you don't like the rules, don't do it. It's very simple, Donnie. You don't want to be put in a situation where you have to rat on your friends. Don't sell drugs and get in trouble. Again, it goes any way you look at it, Donnie. If you don't want to possibly crash your car, you shouldn't go out and drive in the snow when there's 6 inches of snow on the road. It's very simple, Donnie. We make decisions. Our lives are based on decisions. You don't want to do something, don't do it. That's why we live in America. We have the ability to say no. And at the end of the day, Donnie, look, I like LeBron James. I'm happy that he gets involved in social issues with the platform that he has. But at the end of the day, what the hell does he know about college? This guy's never been to one, nor does he have any room to talk about it. You know what, LeBron? Go talk about tacos and your life in LA. Keep out of this social stuff. Look, again, I have no problem if he wants to speak up on, gun violence or the drug epidemic or something like that, because he does have a big platform. But we really don't need you, LeBron, sticking your nose into college stuff that you don't really know much about. Do me a favor, fall back, go work on your jump shot, get ready for the season. Because again, you're now looked upon to win in LA. Go work on that and stop worried about what people in college do.
Yeah, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars it adds up in college scholarship money. And let's not even talk about like the networking, where if you go play football as a backup cornerback at UCLA and go around, there is hey, you played football at UCLA. Wow. I mean, you talk about non-starters and starters for jobs. It's unbelievable that we have these topics. But again, it's California. They have a lot of different philosophies on a lot of things. We'll see how this turns out and see if that sparks any bills throughout the country. But again, it's so simple. NCAA, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to use the rules, Jeff, you can't come on YouTube. If YouTube says, hey, Jeff, the only thing we can't have you do is do your show completely naked. You're like, well, why not? I'm going to do it naked. This is unfair. No, there's rules out here, and there's obviously complications along with it. Let's keep it moving, Jeff. By the way, when we talk about the New England Patriots, we're going to get into them in a little bit, the game itself, but it never ends with the Patriots or the paranoia, Jeff, when you play against the Patriots. Comes up here, Sean McDermott escorts Bill Belichick's son off of the field, who's obviously the son of Bill Belichick working for the New England Patriots. Said he stayed a little bit too long out on the field, Jeff. And you know what? Get out of here. Stop spying.
Donnie, I actually don't have any issue with this if I'm the Patriots, which again, I hate the Patriots. I don't like them, but I don't like them because they're good at everything. It's not because I don't respect and understand what they do. Listen, Donnie, when I was in high school, I always bended the rules, okay? I would do it, be told not to do it again. I'd probably do it again and then wait for the possibility of something really bad that would happen to me. I scoffed at things. I didn't necessarily follow the rules. That's what the Patriots do. They push it until they're told, do this again, and you're going to have stiff penalties. Then they stop. Look, you have to gain edges and things, Donnie. It's sports. Again, we're taking out the great things about sports, the game planning, the back and forth, the manipulation. They do what they have to do. And if that means we're going to get a slap on the wrist for it, we're okay to do it. Looks like filming practices, Donnie. What really ever came out of that at the end of the day? Was any championship vacated? You look at these guys in college basketball, Donnie, that bend the rules with recruits. Does anything ever really happen to them at the end of the day? So Bill Self loses a Big 12 he won 7 years ago. Who cares? None of these guys ever have any consequences, and no consequences we'll have here.
No, it's kind of funny, but it always comes up with the Patriots at that point. And you're right. And now we can segue right into talking a little bit of NFL football. Why not lead with this game, which took place yesterday, 16-10 win by the New England Patriots? I got to say, I'm a big proponent of what the New England Patriots are doing on defense. And I think I heard the statistic, and I believe it's to be correct, that the Patriots defense has scored more points than it has actually allowed this season. But sometimes, Jeff, we have to take things into context. Because when we look at the Dallas Cowboys playing 3 FCS football programs, all of a sudden play a real football team. And, Dak Prescott and that offense doesn't look like it moves with, just free will up and down the field. But we take a look at yesterday's win, the 16-10, which is great. You didn't get the cover. I think we were both leaning towards the Buffalo Bills yesterday. But when you take a look at the offenses that they played, Pittsburgh has looked horrific on offense. Miami's an absolute embarrassment. The Jets are embarrassing. And Buffalo has a running back right now that's playing quarterback and got dinged up yesterday. Are we taking a little bit too much and say this Patriots defense is the best we've ever seen? Or are we going to take a step back and say, I'm going to wait till the Patriots actually play somebody here?
Yeah, I think it's important that we kind of pull back a little bit. I mean, they haven't I mean, again, as you said, really haven't played much of anybody so far, and we'll see. I mean, I think we all know that defensively they're pretty good, but again, we need to take a step back, and we need to remember that until they play a real quarterback, Daniel Jones would be interesting when they play him. Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott. You have a lot of quarterbacks coming up, Donnie. Well, we'll learn about what the Patriots are. They seemingly do this every year. They're dominating through 3 or 4 games. Then they lose a game they probably should have won. And then they run all the way to the playoffs and likely win the Super Bowl. At the end of the day yesterday, Donnie, Tom Brady, 46% of his passes were completed. Very low. He had an interception. He didn't even throw for 200 yards. They only had 64 rushing yards, Donnie. Julian Edelman was a non-factor. Josh Gordon was a non-factor. They had no receiving touchdowns. Look, at the end of the day, we need to give the Buffalo Bills a little bit more credit for what they did yesterday. If they had any semblance of a quarterback late in that game, they probably win that football game. So, yeah, I still need to see more from the Patriots. Look, we saw it last night with the Cowboys. Some teams are just a benefit of a really good schedule early on, and the Patriots and Cowboys, as usual, are the benefactors of that stuff.
Yeah, no, the Cowboys, as we know, first 3 games that haven't played anybody. Then when you actually do play somebody, you don't even get Drew Brees, one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Now they're going to play the Green Bay Packers coming this week. Jeff, probably looks like maybe Devontae Adams won't suit up for the Green Bay Packers. So, hey, you got to run hot if you expect to win some of these football games. And that's what they're getting.
We saw last night, even early in that game, that interception by Awuzie. I mean, can that team run any better? I mean, it pops up right into his arms. But that was an impressive win last night by the Saints. Defensively, they were unbelievable. I think the real question for them was, do we trust that secondary? Eli Apple, Von Bell, Marshawn Lattimore. They were phenomenal last night. That's the Marshawn Lattimore, Donnie, I remember from Ohio State. I mean, he was unbelievable last night against Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott was a non-factor, and it seems like, Donnie, whenever he faces a good rush defense, he struggles. Alvin Kamara didn't seem to have much trouble, Donnie, last night with moving the football. That's a pretty good defense on the other side. So, real nice win. You and I called it. I think we all kind of knew that was a – look, if you continue to bet into those situations on the favorite, you are going to lose long term. You can't keep doing it, Donnie. Didn't make any sense. The number goes down a half a point. The whole world's in the Cowboys. Just doesn't make sense. You should have been able to see through that last night. You should have took the Saints.
Jeff, time's catching up, it seems like, right now with the Indianapolis Colts. We thought it might bite them sooner, or a little bit later than sooner, but actually now flip that back sooner than later yesterday as we saw a tough performance. But it was one that when we broke the showdown yesterday, Jeff, on the closing line, said, you know what? Look at this line right here. I mean, again, you're not making money, as we like to say. If you could get 7s and it's down to 5.5, sometimes not the shrewdest investment, but the Oakland Raiders were the better football team yesterday over the Colts in their own building. And the minute we said, because sometimes Jeff said, well, players, it's only about lines. It's not about players. You see it. When you take T.Y. Hilton out of that offense, it's not as explosive. They weren't doing that yesterday. Now you rely more on a quarterback who's not Andrew Luck and a defense that's banged up. Oakland plays really well after getting bounced by Minnesota, rebounds on the road again and plays the Colts and comes up with a victory here. How about those Raiders yesterday?
Yeah, nice win for the Raiders. I will say with the Colts, I'm still very happy with this team, and I long-term think they're going to continue to be a bet on. We have to remember yesterday, the top tackler in the league was out yesterday. Their run defense is struggling without Darius Leonard. They need him back. They got to get him back in there. Keep in mind as well, Donnie, Jabal Sheard played yesterday for the first time in a while. Autry, he's been out with injuries. He just come back recently. Pierre Desir as well. This defense is going to be fine. They need to get Leonard back down. He stabilizes everything with that defense. I mean, he's going to give you double-digit tackles per game. They need him back. But I think at any rate, I didn't hate this loss yesterday for the Colts. It wasn't great, but it was expected. They had a lot of guys out on defense that they need, big players that are important to what they do. And look, T.Y. Hilton didn't play, and you only lost by 7 points. They just didn't have a big playmaker on offense either. I don't think this is a terrible loss for the Colts. I'm not ready.
You don't think that's a bad loss to lose to the Raiders at home?
No, because we have to remember, Donnie, and I said this yesterday, this Raiders team, matchup-wise, was a concern for the Colts. They're not a good run defense, and it's been magnified without Leonard. Josh Jacobs is a good running back. I don't think Derek Carr had a particularly great game. I mean, he was admirable. I mean, he didn't throw for 300 yards. And you look at the end of the day, Malik Hooker was out as well. So these are all big losses for the Colts. Look, 31-7, that would have been embarrassing. But I thought the offense played pretty well. They'll get those guys back. They'll be fine.
How about this one, Jeff? And let's don't even look at the final score. This was a broad beating all the way through. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns here. The Cleveland Browns, which basically again, without 3/4 of their secondary on the road in a must-win situation. And again, Jeff, I always like to talk about like some of the stuff we talk about in the closing line and the way it plays out. You're saying, doesn't this have that feel, Jeff? Going on the road, nobody expects you to win, getting around a touchdown, and now you're going to play this team that's looking to exert themselves. And oh my God, look how bad the Cleveland Browns have played. Boy, they really showed up and played well. Odell Beckham only gets like 2 catches for 20 yards, and they dominate. Because if you take away, Jeff, a 50-yard touchdown, that nothing with about 30 seconds to go in this football game, that was a butt kicking. 40-25 it ends up, when really it should have been 40-18, a road win for those Browns.
Donnie, before we get into this breakdown and what happened, I want to just shout you and I out because we don't do it enough. And I think it's important to talk about because I'm not saying anything that's not true here. Through the first 4 weeks of the NFL season, I don't know if there's a better show that makes picks and wins significantly every week like you and I do on Sunday. I mean, Donnie, we're calling outright money line winners, +7. I told you the Browns would win yesterday.
Yeah.
This is the kind of game I thought we'd see from them. We have to start – you guys got to start sharing the love out there. And I know most of you are. Most of you are loyal people. We are killing it on that NFL show. We're giving you the best. A lot of people tune into
that, man. A lot of people tune into it, too.
And I hope they're taking the advice and running with it because we are killing it every week. I mean, Donnie, every week we pick maybe 1 or 2 games wrong. I mean,
I was 2-1 yesterday, and again, it's come back because you're going to say the same thing, Jeff. The only one I missed yesterday because who's giving you the Miami Dolphins in the first half yesterday to get the cover?
Nobody.
My blowout game of the day was Seattle, which they covered fairly easily in that one. Got a little bit of white knuckle, and then Tennessee, and then also how about the over? And I'm done with if I just stay clear of the overs on that show, I think we're going to cruise.
Well, yeah, and over and unders have been really a nail in my foot, Donnie, in college and NFL. I've
staying away from.
I look at all my losses. I'm actually 1 game above 500, Donnie, in college football this year.
Yeah.
All my free picks, and I would say probably I think I'm 15-14. Out of the 14 losses, I bet 10 are total.
And they don't even make sense sometimes. The over-unders at 75, 10-3 at the half. You're like,
Donnie,
enough with
this weekend. I had over 72, Liberty, New Mexico. 2 of the worst defense in the country. 2 teams that go a mile a minute pace-wise. 27-17, I think it was. I mean, come on. But yeah, no, we're killing it. As far as this game, though, Browns were impressive, man. I mean, Baker Mayfield shut everybody up pretty quick, didn't he? Shut me up.
When you're going to play Lamar Jackson, and the one thing we said, you know what, Lamar Jackson still he's put up good numbers. He's thrown the ball well this year. But what's really important against that team? A super athletic front seven, and that's what Cleveland had yesterday. If you can have containment of Lamar Jackson, you got a good shot personally.
Yeah, look, Nick Chubb finally got this run game going, which we were looking for. They were one of the worst rush offenses in the league over the first 3 weeks. Big game yesterday for that group. Jarvis Landry had a big game. Defensively, the Ravens, Donnie, have major issues. They got to get healthy. Whether it's and you're not going to get healthy because I think Tavon Young's out for the year. But the pass rush, this is not a vintage Ravens defense. They're going to be an overdream, Donnie, all year because they go a mile a minute on offense. They don't stop anybody. We have to dispel of this. The Ravens are a great defensive team. They're not. They're just not very good, to be honest with you. Donnie, I'm going to say one other thing about Odell Beckham Jr., who I think pulls the wool over our eyes because he makes occasionally a really good catch. And he's out there. Yep. And he's out there before the game with no one around, catching the ball with his hands behind his back. But, Donnie, can we be honest with ourselves here? He's a little overrated, no?
It's hard because his talent he's a generational talent out there. But
so why is he more dominating in games?
You're right. He dominated for the Giants, but you said, he dominated for the Giants. Would they actually win?
There's nobody else on that team to catch the ball outside of him.
No, you saw it. And you had one of the biggest games that you needed to stamp your approval down and say, we're the Cleveland Browns, we're here. Who showed up? Jarvis Landry in that football game. How about that?
And it's going to get more difficult because Antonio Callaway's coming back as well. David Njoku's been out. He'll eventually come back.
By the way, Joe, is now time to buy on the Cleveland Browns in that division? Look at I think Pittsburgh looks like they're dead and buried, right? Cincinnati, we know about Cincinnati, but when you take a look at the two teams that are vying for it, you would have thought like a couple weeks ago, oh my God, Baltimore, they're here, they're going to dominate. Look at Lamar Jackson. But when you really peel back the layers, Jeff, they beat Miami, who's atrocious. They beat Arizona, who is atrocious. The Kansas City final score 33-28. That game wasn't that close. They got busted up. And even Cleveland, they lost by 15 points to Cleveland. That score wasn't even that close. You got some little alarm bells ringing off down there in Baltimore where, hey, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. And now when we play good teams, we get smashed.
Keep in mind, Cleveland plus 115 to win this division right now at FanDuel. You're getting plus money on Cleveland. I think it's pretty clear.
And what's the old adage as well when you say, all right, well, look at Cleveland coming up. They get nothing out of Odell Beckham. When he starts to click, look at the offense. You get Njoku back later in the season. If you stay healthy on the offensive line, that's another weapon. And, it never hurts, Jeff, when you get like your starting safety, your starting cornerbacks back as well to add on to the guys already playing well as backups.
Yeah. No, they've been really impressive with the injuries they've had, as you said, in the secondary. They're still finding ways to be pretty good defensively. It's impressive. I mean, when they get back healthy, they're going to be a good football team. I'm interested, Donnie, to win this conference. Cleveland 12-1. They're as talented as anybody. I'm just going to say that. And Donnie, do I think their defense long term is a better defense than like the Patriots or the Chiefs? Fuck yes, I do. Of course I do. The Kansas City Chiefs can't fucking stop anybody, Donnie. That's going to be their downfall eventually.
Yeah, goal line, plays that are getting reversed for 100 yards yesterday. That's a whole nother thing that we can certainly get into. We'll keep it moving along. Jeff, the Bucs yesterday. The one nod we had going in, and the final statistics don't tell you all the reasoning. Jared Goff leaving a lot of plays there. Well, how can he leave plays out there? We're almost 500 yards. If you watch the game with your eyes, something is just not right with the Los Angeles Rams. And that defense that had played so well got absolutely smoked in that football game. What did we get? 100? Was there 100 points total score? 95 points total scored in that football game. 55-40 final. Defensive touchdowns, offensive fireworks. Good day for the Eagles for the Rams to get beat, but something, Jeff, just isn't clicking the way it should with the Rams right now.
Yeah, there's two things not clicking. They're not good defensively, and Jared Goff stinks. He's not good. When are we going to stop with Jared Goff? Donnie, imagine this. Imagine your favorite team in the NFL gave this guy $134 million over 4 years. It's embarrassing. This guy stinks. He makes mistakes far too much. He doesn't get rid of the football. He looks lost in the pocket half the time. And this defense can't stop you, me, and 9 listeners.
I'm surprised the Rams defense did that yesterday.
The Rams are the most fraudulent 3-1 team on earth.
Carolina, opening week, they got a nice win to Carolina. New Orleans, they stone them. They stone the Browns on the road. Then they come back and lay an egg, and one of them, they're going to take that 4-0 lead. They're going to be the lead dogs again. They went to the Super Bowl last year, and it just didn't happen yesterday. They were brutal. They were getting blown out to start the football game.
If Freddie Kitchens has any idea what he's doing in the red zone, they don't win that game either. They played the Saints without Drew Brees, I think.
Yes. Drew Brees got hurt in that game,
yeah. And you played Carolina, who was.
What do you mean Freddie Kitchens? You mean Sean McVay?
No, against the Browns. Freddie Kitchens.
I understand, yes.
And then week 1, you played Carolina, who with Cam Newton were horrific.
Yeah, we'll get
so
to
what
that.
what do we really have here from the Rams? Listen, I will say this though. I was half right on the Bucs. I thought the Bucs sucked defensively, and they do. They're a fraud. That first game or two where they shut down the opponent. I mean, Donnie, they couldn't get any separation in that game last night at all. It was embarrassing. I'll say this: Shaquille Barrett's the real deal, man. Shaquille Barrett, man, is
what? He had 9 sacks in 4 games.
In 4 games. And Ndamukong Suh beats up his old team. That's rough. Donnie, what would you have given to get like an Ndamukong Suh or Clowney on this team?
Well, I mean, look, we had a couple guys that could ball out, but they got injured. But it would have been nice. You saw the freak play by Clowney yesterday. You want to talk about when you bet a game where you need a splash play to go your way to start? How about that Clowney play yesterday? Good grief.
That's what guys like Jadeveon Clowney do. They're game changers.
Jeff, we got to talk about this game here. And this is why we are gamblers, and this is why sometimes betting games is so maddening. Only in the sport of football can you look at the Chicago Bears And if you had bet the Bears in this football game, like I have been in the pick six contest, I told you, it's like, oh my God, everybody's injured. Now Roquan Smith goes down. There's no way they're going to be able to win with Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky on the first drive of the game fumbles the ball. They got so lucky that there was a penalty. I believe it was like illegal hands to the face against the defense on Minnesota. He fumbles and goes down with an injury. And every single person that had the Bears and every single person that had the Minnesota Vikings had two different reactions. If you bet the Bears, you're like, hell yes, he's out. And if you bet the Vikings, you're like, half the reason I just bet this football game is because I wanted Trubisky the whole entire game. That's your franchise quarterback. You traded so much ammunition away, and people are praying that he gets knocked out, and the Bears were better for. I'm not so sure they would have won the football game with Trubisky, Jeff, just to be honest.
No, Chase Daniels is a better quarterback. Crazy.
He is. He is.
Listen, Mitchell Trubisky's got concerns, man. This is not good for him. I'll tell you, though, this Bears defense, they are on such another level than everyone else in this league. They're on a different fucking level, man, defensively.
Missing guys, missing one of their better defensive linemen, missing their middle linebacker, a super athletic guy. They didn't miss a beat.
No, they're amazingly impressive. How about Donnie Chuck Pagano, man? The guy continues to come up like. But
there were people out there saying though in the preseason, Jeff, like, you don't lose Fangio and just replace him. I'm like, dude, Pagano is not just some chump, man. He's been around some really good defenses.
Yeah, but he gets he just kind of gets thrown in as the name of this defense. I mean, do you really think he has a lot of say as to what?
I think you do need an on-field caller, because we get mad and say, oh, that defense shouldn't be right. You shouldn't have blitzed in that spot. He's calling all the right numbers. But also, Jeff, this is another side thing, because we have a lot of Chicago connections out here. The one thing I continually don't understand, force the Bears to get turf. Why are we only in September and everybody looks like they're on an ice skating rink out there? I don't get it.
Another thing that the NFL is behind in, Donnie. We have 85 people watching for a first show that you and I just
at lunchtime.
Yeah, at lunchtime that we just started again today. It's very nice. Thank you for watching. We have so many loyal people out there that check us out. Again, we don't have a big company to prop us up, really. We just kind of do this, and we grind, and we grab wherever we can. So thanks for checking out the show. Continue to tell people about it. We're going to be here every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. going over the day in sports. Donnie, let's keep it going. What else do we have for you?
Yeah, how about all right, Minshew Mania. Let's all get in here. I had my only loss yesterday, my premium card yesterday. I go 2-1 yesterday. I had the Titans +4, an easy winner. Had the Seattle Seahawks -5. That was nice. I was looking on my birthday, Jeff, at a sweet 3-0, and I'm watching just before the end of the half. I'm like, damn, look at this 17-3 Broncos. I nailed this game. I knew Minshew would have problems. The Broncos would be able to be more physical in elevation, just control it. They're moving the ball methodically down the field. There's 40 seconds to go. Hey, we're in field goal range. Maybe we can even get a touchdown out of this. Flacco throws the interception, leads to a field goal the opposite way. So instead of going into the half, Jeff, 20-3 lead, which basically would have choked the life out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You gave them life, and Leonard Fournette and Minshew made plays in the second half.
Yeah, this is another team, Donnie, that kind of has some kind of reputation that they're a great defense in Denver, and I think those days are long gone. I mean, outside of Von Miller, there's just not a lot of talent on this defense. I mean, they have certain guys that you're excited about, but this is Donnie, when you're starting Devontae Bowlesby in your secondary, a guy
actually played well early too. Yeah, but that was funny when you hear that term, you're like, oh man, I know where that's going.
Yeah, then you're kind of concerned. But yeah, they didn't play well yesterday. Where was the offense in the second half for Denver? I mean, outside of that late TD, this is a team that just there's no consistency whatsoever offensively. I'll continue to say it. I think their only talented player really at this point is Phillip Lindsay. I mean, you have occasional guys that are good, but Joe Flacco just bogs offenses down. You kind of feel bad for John Elway because I feel like at some point he's got to connect on a quarterback. But think if they're another team, Donnie, that I think with just some kind of consistent quarterback, they'd be a lot more interesting because I also don't think they're the Bucs defensively. I think
their defense let them down. I mean, their defense let them down a couple times. They should have beat the Chicago Bears. They should have won yesterday. And even I'm sitting on that -3 in the game, and even they had the nice. It looked like it was going to get a blowout win. Then it gets taken away, and then you see them score the touchdown, and you get every nightmare if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars backer or if you're the Denver backer. The very first play, they hit his hand, the ball flies up in the air, and I know Jacksonville has 2 timeouts. So if Denver catches that and falls down, you're going to get a field goal attempt. The very next play, they beat their guy again. They actually get a strip of Minshew in the backfield, but they rough him and the play goes on. They end up losing the football game. That's like, they did the same. It's almost a carbon copy of what happened in that Bears game.
And they had a lot of, nothing was kind of on the same level. I said the offense didn't play well. The defense couldn't get stops. They've hurt me a couple times this year, Donnie, Denver, whether I'm betting against them or on them. I kind of followed your lead yesterday on this game, and they've been rough. And then I have them against the Bears. They come back, this amazing comeback. They've just been all over the place. They've been hard to be consistent. I'm kind of out on Denver.
No, they're the trials and tribulations, because even the games yesterday, if you look at the final score, Seattle was just absolutely taking apart Arizona in the first half. Exactly the way you thought. And then you saw that street ball offense come to life with Arizona, and you actually needed a nice 7-8 minute touchdown drive late to actually secure that game in Seattle. It's maddening, man. And sometimes I'm always of the belief in professional sports, whatever it may be, when you take the points and pray, doesn't it always come down like a possession late in the football game that 1 6-yard play, 1 7-yard play is absolutely massive? White knuckling it all the way. I should have never had the white knuckle that Seattle game, Jeff.
Well, I thought, for at least from my vantage point, they seemed like a 10-point or better team the entire game, and it ended up being that way. But you shouldn't really have to. But I'll tell you this. The Cardinals are scrappy, man, offensively. They really are scrappy, but they got to pick it up on the defensive end. They have not been good. But one other comment on Minshew, Donnie. I've talked about him. His track to the NFL is quite amazing. I've talked about it. He's been terrific. It's fun to watch a guy like him.
Strong arm, good in the pocket. The play of the game yesterday, Jeff, I believe it was 17-6. It was like a 3rd and 8 in the red zone. And he must have juked 5 or 6 guys in like a phone booth and then throws a touchdown pass out to Temple's finest in the back of the end zone, Raquel Armstead. And all of a sudden it's a new game. If he gets sacked there, you end up with a field goal. You don't know what's going to happen. But plays like that, only special kids make those plays, man.
Yeah, the kid has talent. He's a gunslinger. He can throw the ball around. He's a tough kid, physical kid. He's got a good grit on him. He's a gritty kid. I like him a lot. I'm happy to see him having success. He was, Donnie, I've talked about it. If Tyler Helinski doesn't unfortunately take his own life, Gardner Minshew's selling fucking insurance somewhere.
No, you're right. And how about, did you see the Nick Saban article that came out? Said they wanted him to be a backup last year at Alabama, which probably means he never takes the field except for junk time. And they said Saban actually had said, hey, look, I hope he becomes a graduate assistant and he just goes right into coaching and he have a bright future. He never gets his platform unless he goes to Washington State with some interesting stuff.
It's funny how life works, Don. He starts out at a community college, Northwest Mississippi Community College, goes to East Carolina, doesn't win the job over Thomas Sirk. Thomas Sirk of all people. And Scotty Montgomery wasn't able to recognize that Gardner Minshew was talented, amazingly enough. What a surprise. Then he goes out to Washington State. Instead of going to Alabama, he goes to Alabama, Don. He kind of takes on maybe a Clint Trickett type of career.
Yes, like he has the ability. He will have a 50-year coaching career if he goes to Alabama. Yes.
But he decides to go to Washington State, and just goes to show you how much of a genius Mike Leach is. He finds a way for him to be kind of a success. This is kind of, Donnie, what I thought Luke Falk would be. Surprisingly, I thought Luke Falk was talented coming out of that school. But, Donnie, let's move on. We got Monday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Monday Night Football tonight. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, as you guys know. Our Pick 6 contest on SBR, I went with plus 4.5 for the Cincinnati Bengals. But look, I got 4.5. Look, we can only deal on what the lines are technically today. There are, I would say the prevailing line, Jeff, if we take a look, 3.5. If you're going to get 3 and you're going to want the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're probably going to have to pay like minus 125 or minus 130. How could you take the Bengals on the road? Sometimes when you bet football games, Jeff, it's not so much about the team you're betting on. It's really a fade of the Pittsburgh offense of what I'm taking a look at. If you looked at the last 2 weeks, Seattle and San Francisco, this big bad offensive line with a power running game, 81 yards on the ground versus Seattle. Second week, Jeff, against San Francisco, and this again coming with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, 79 yards on the ground. And they must be passing a lot. 180 yards versus Seattle, Jeff, 160 versus San Francisco. If you're not putting up points, it's hard enough to win football games, let alone cover spreads, because if it's 3.5, you're more looking to cover by likely a touchdown. I'm taking Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati's the right move here.
This is going to be fun, Donnie. I disagree.
Oh,
I actually really like Pittsburgh, and I'm going to give you a couple reasons why.
Go.
First of all, we know both teams need a win. They're 0-3. You go to 0-4, the season's over. It's that simple. But I think Pittsburgh, Donnie, wins the battle in the trenches by a wide margin here. Their offensive line's stout. That's the one really good thing about this team. I think they give Mason Rudolph a nice pocket to play in against the defense that's poor. I mean, you and I both know that. This is a bad defense that has major fundamental issues. They can't tackle. They're not good against the run. Nothing they do is particularly good at Cincinnati. James Conner should be able to get going against a team giving up like 140 rushing yards a game. So I think they win that battle. I also look at this offensive line. I mean, Donnie, will Cincinnati ever have an offensive line that's good enough? I mean, it seems like every year.
No, every year they're injured. Every year they just put another guy in there and he gets injured again. Yeah, you're right.
This is a simple game to just look at it and say, I think the battle of the trenches are won by a wide margin by the Steelers. I think Juju Smith starts to get involved a little bit more. Vance McDonald, some of the big boys for Pittsburgh. I think Rudolph, again, has a clean pocket to throw in. I also look at this line, and I think it is goading people into taking the Bengals. I think people just assume that the Steelers stink and they're no good. But this Bengals team's even worse. And if I need a team to get a stop at the end of the game, I have a lot more reason to think that the Steelers are going to get it done as opposed to the Bengals. I think the Bengals are probably the third worst team in the league. This is a bad team with a coach in over his head. I think the Steelers are a really solid player. I think they win by double digits.
It'll be interesting because you do have a good point when you bring up, outside of the first game where they played Seattle, I'm talking Cincinnati Bengals here, where they really outplayed Seattle. The next two games, Jeff, I mean, look at this. We get the same. We like Jimmy Garoppolo, me and you. We like Shanahan. We like the play callers. I think there's a bright future in San Francisco. They go for 259 on the ground, Jeff, and 313 in the air versus Cincinnati. And then the following week where they say, all right, 21-17, you're up 17-14. You might be able to beat Buffalo and Buffalo. Buffalo's offense, who we know isn't the greatest, 175 on the ground and 241 in the air. So you're right. If this is the time for Pittsburgh to get right, it's tonight. I could see Pittsburgh winning the game, but I just don't have faith in them covering over 3 points in this one. That's all.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. I mean, they obviously, the Bengals have played tough. You got to wonder, Donnie, when does the win kind of come out of their sails a little bit with, how do we not have a win yet? How do we? But again, this is the divisional game. Should be fun. It is important to mention, though. I mean, the Steelers have just dominated the Bengals. The Bengals have been a bad team for a lot of years. I don't have any reason to think that even in a game like this, I think the Steelers are a better football team. Vance McDonald's out, Donnie. When did that happen?
Let me get the obviously the inactives don't come out till
we don't have the inactives yet, but
Vance Williams downgraded to out, Shaquille O'Neal out, Roosevelt Nix is out, Vance McDonald is doubtful Monday with a shoulder, so he's probably going to be announced.
Yeah, I mean, I also heard Jabal Sheard was doubtful and he played. So until we have an
there's some surprises. You're right. Hour and a half before the game, we'll know, but you're right. There's always surprise inactives, and he's going to give it a go.
If you're not looking at inactives, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I really don't. I don't know how you can blindly just bet a game without looking at them. Do you guys have any lean towards an over-under for tonight's game?
Look, the defense is if it's 44.5, it's hard because you're saying, well, Donnie, if you should like the under if you're saying Pittsburgh's offense doesn't get going. I mean, theoretically, yes, but you're still dealing with, again, a 44.5 in this football game. 24-21, Jeff, and you get a winner in this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, again, you're barking up the wrong tree when you keep asking me about totals. I have no interest in betting them right now. I'm just sick of them, to be real honest with you. So I'm going to pass. I'm going to just lean towards taking the Steelers here.
No, fun show so far. Appreciate you guys coming in the chat box. We'll get the retweets out there. We'll keep rocking and rolling here. Jeff, I think there's a little bit of soccer that some of the people out there might want to like tonight.
Yeah, we got a game tonight. Big game out in the Premier League. Yeah, big match here up in Manchester. We got Arsenal heading on the road to take on Man United. Donnie, Man United, you would agree, storied soccer.
Yes. Yep. Wayne Rooney. Yep. Everybody. Yeah.
Wayne Rooney's way gone, and they've had a storied, obviously life as a soccer team. I mean, you look
Peter Crouch ever get any time there, Jeff?
Peter Crouch retired, I believe.
Did he ever play Man U? No?
No, he did not, I don't believe. But, I mean, you had the class of 92, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville, Philip Neville, Ryan Butt. This was a great team, a great group of guys. And this is a long way away from what they are. Man United basically is committed and said, Donnie, they are rebuilding as a franchise and as a club. They'll get great investments from the Gladwells that own the group, I believe. But as far as this game and this spot, I think it's a really scary spot for Man United. This is a team that's not been playing well this year. There's very limited players up front that could score goals for this team. They're just kind of out of it. They're not the United team we once knew. And I think Arsenal's on kind of the leg up here. I think they come into this game with a lot of confidence, a lot of motivation. They have a great group going forward with Aubameyang and Lacazette. They have guys that are getting them the ball. Nicolas Pepe has been a great addition to them. And I think their defense is getting better. They have some guys that can competently defend now. You welcome back Hector Bellerin, who's been one of their better defenders for a lot of years. Callum Chambers has become a really good defender. He comes back from Fulham, who was on loan last year. I really like this spot for Arsenal. I think the price is way too high. I gave it out last week at plus 200. It's up to 220 now. I think Arsenal has a real good shot to win this match today. So I'm going to lean with the Arsenal getting almost 2-1, over 2-1 in this game. Should be a great match as always.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you get a little bit of soccer, you get a little bit of life, you get a little bit of arguments, you get a little bit of picks, something for everybody here on the right side of campus, Jeff. Monday through Fridays, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And of course, I have a website that I'm going to be posting the videos daily on. Jeff obviously is going to be retweeting those out there. So if you haven't caught it, or you say, you know what? Had a lunch break, wasn't able to do it. I had a meeting in the afternoon. It's available all day long, man. We're going to have some fun rocking and rolling, doing this Monday through Friday. Keep it light and simple. Jeff and I also knock out the closing line on Sundays. A lot of good stuff coming forward, too. Maybe some breakdown videos as well. And the big games of the week, Jeff, I think might be on the horizon as well.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely do those. I mean, I already do a couple in college. I'm sure Donnie and I will do some in the NFL. We had college basketball coming. For anyone that's curious, I gave 5 futures out already. Go on my channel and check that video out, including, Donnie, a 90-1 team that I think is priced way too high in the college basketball landscape. Also, what I'm going to do in this video, every day we post it, I'm going to post the times we talk about things. So if you're looking for just a preview on a game or something, I'll kind of put that out there as well. But Donnie, tomorrow we'll get into kind of the look-ahead day. Tuesday is a great look-ahead day. Kind of get excited about what we have in NCAA football Week 6 and NFL Week 5. We'll get into that. We'll update some injuries. We'll recap what we saw in Steelers, Bengals, and really get the week headed into the new direction, Donnie. I'm excited about that. Wednesday, Thursday, we'll do our previews and get into everything. This is the show to be on, Donnie. 1 o'clock Eastern every day. We should call it the lunch break, shouldn't we, Donnie?
Yeah, we gotta. You know what? Here's what we should do, Jeff. Like, we'll leave it up to the people. We're a man of the people, right? What should this show? It's always going to be the right side of campus, but what's the edition going to be? We have the closing line NFL edition. It's the right side of campus. What's the edition going to be called? You know what I mean? Let's leave it up to the people.
We should call it lunch break or something. I don't know. But Donnie, tomorrow I want to talk about Mike Scott. Can we talk about Mike Scott, please?
We're going to load up on stuff like that, Jeff, because you are the most racist person I know. And
yeah, Donnie, before we go, I got a funny DM before we started the show. So some guy DMs me and calls me basically a racist bigot and I'm a Trump supporter and all this stuff because he thinks that I actually think that there were racist things said to Mike Scott. Look, if someone called Mike Scott a racial slur in that tailgate, I can understand his frustration. Totally. I can get why he swung on somebody. I understand that. But we'll get into it tomorrow. I'm actually really interested. We never got to talk about it, you and I, because we didn't have a show. But thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you check out everything Donnie's got going on Twitter at Rightside VP. He's doing a nice job in the NFL. We kill the NFL. It's just that simple. We actually give picks. We don't just sit there and tell you stories from the 70s and stupid betting strategies that make no sense. We're not betting on games because the mascot passed away. We're not doing that. We're giving you real life fucking facts. Donnie, thanks for coming on. As always, thanks to all the listeners for checking out the right side of campus. We're back, baby. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern here on the channel. Have a great night. Bye-bye.